Certo sarà bianco. 조심, 조심, 조심. 왕사짓을 하지 아세요? 맞지? 그쪽이야. 왕사짓을 하지 않아요. 왕걸 차려라. 이렇게 걸어서 하지 않아요. 조심, 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 조심. 이거 삼, 이거 봐요. 이거 먹어요. 네. 나봐요, 깜놀해. 나봐요, 깜놀이랑 깜놀을 참아라. Om Ahom. All the way. 주로는 사마 토마토시들 들이 주로 소타도 망법해도 대상지 동지제세 라시들이 소리.
So first, my Dharma friends, I'm Rashidele. Many of you came from many different places. So thank you very much for coming, and Rashidele.
토마토다 뭐소 로마 용바타죠 왕거는 야미 제법가면 애야 말랑쇼요래 늘라마 진 집을 랑고요래 대체발가래 제발가가 시고래 진짜다 낭바 라공하지를 곰네 로마담기나 들이딱바로 들이랑라랑 야미 제 소속 초거더니 등이 곰 야미야제 곰잡대 요래 지금까지 랑고 말이 샘지대 바래 랑고 공작 대고 요래 들이 밤에 벽까지 들이 라마드 개비신이 밤나 밤에 받는 것들 라마드 개비신이 싸쳐버리지 밤에 벽까지 들이 야랑고 가지나 양수남 토고 요래 니니들이 라마 전부 잡아 탐지 집안다 조금 먼저 지하 탐지 편하게 세고하고 참아야 랑게 저기면 받치는 냠이 개박감이 야랑고 말해 냠이 매번 밤에 들이 라마 교육 싸쳐버려 하고 대회 랑초담 초 제발 때리 곰잠냠이 제발다시 야라나 삐마시니 받쳐버려 싸움에 저거 발세봐 내가 사태지 뒤지는지 팩도 풀러만 펴도 야랑더니 등에 진짜 셔도 걸려 등 무슨 받침 뭘 그래 등 가까이 시고래 진짜
So there are some of my senior disciples who often come here to receive empowerment, but there is you might know that, but there is one thing I would like to make clear, and that is the difference between when we should get up when the Lama enters the room, and when you should not get up when the Lama enters the room. What? When you should get up and you should not stand up? So it's important to understand the difference, because normally when I enter the room, all of you are getting up. And so actually, it depends on the practitioner now. If the practitioner meditates, visualizes the deity and recites the mantra, or rests in a state of meditative concentration, and then in that case there is actually then actually you shouldn't get up when I enter the room. Then you should just stay where you are and continue your meditation. And so on the other hand, if you are unmindful, then in a state of unmindfulness, then there is this dualistic perception of, oh, the Lama is so precious. And then when you get up, then you actually accumulate merit. And so that's the difference. Of course, it depends on the Lama too. If it is someone like His Holiness the Dalai Lama or His Holiness Chetan Rinpoche, then of course we all have to get up when they enter the room. But for the most part, when people like lamas like myself and so on enter the room, there's actually in many cases, no need to actually get up. So you have to clearly understand the difference here between when you should get up and when you shouldn't get up. So when you're actually in a state of meditation and you get up, actually that is a great fault, because then you're actually, first of all, demolishing your visualization, the practice of the deity. And so actually when I'm entering the room and you're getting up, actually I'm destroying your samadhi and your meditative concentration, and then doing that actually is a great fault on my part, since you're getting up from me. So it's important to understand the difference.
난그 대바들이 삼중지대 다 쳐버리 sama 속적지성 사제 단축도 삼중지 사축선지요 사축도 다 쳐버리 참아 삼중지구나 딱 그바 체주대 되래. 그리 싸워 대바 라마나시 예미 사지 라마나시 예미 하고 되는 애들이 라마도 사지 라시스 뜻도 못나 저 봐서 대단한 사 약속대 되래. 다투고 되래. 라시 라마도 보고 사사서 말아봐 콩그스 랑그 셈랑그 sak타로래. 그랬다가 대답도 독체랬더니 상사와들 세사 남사 상사 선대래.
So on the outer level, we show our devotion with body and with speech, our respect, and that is a sign of veneration, respect. But then the inner devotion actually is to give rise to love and compassion. And that is the mind of all that is the mind and also a sign of respect to all the Buddhas of the 10 directions and the 3 times. So actually, if you give rise to love and compassion, then that is the greatest form of showing your respect. And then the secret devotion is to recognize that your own mind is indivisible from the Guru's mind. Or you recognize, Jigten Sumgyun said, I'm a yogin who has realized my own mind, the Buddha's mind, and the Guru's mind to be one. So that recognition is actually the best or the ultimate prostration, form of homage. It is, like Milarepa also had said, I pay homage to my own mind as the Guru. So it also depends on one's level of the view, one's level of realization. And so depending on that, there are those 3 levels of prostration or homage, the outer, the inner, and the secret.
왕의 제발에 드리더는 법바가 왕래 법바는 사 초고 세상 치고 고인사리에서 바치가 바라게 세열을 때는 사 잡고 탑지 yap고면도 드리더서 샤사도 차통도 돼서 담을 베대다가 상고요래 대 말에 마음이 becau서 시와래 들이 뉴모 받은 민들이 부생된 민의 매는 저런 거를 베대다가 시와사도 민의 초는 저런 거를 초월되는 강리되는 유몽이 싫은 집에 빼래 들이다가 데려지는 자꾸 틀려도 강리되는 들이배나 맨날 차도 짜증 샥 채고 빼지도 능기를 강치가 되는 이게 시와사 초치요래 이게 라도 치와들이 초라래 대외라더니 sem진답지 바바라 라토본도 초를 줘봐라 샤차를 좀 주고요래 이때 뭐 샬란지와도 차차란지와 세상으로 빠른지와 무슨 차대요래 신종과 나를 샤차 상황을 셈때는 되어요 대상 냠들더니 sem진이 뉴모마데 냠들더니 되어요 바데 뉴모만 통구요 말이 차차도 막 통구요래 어떤 무슨 되어요 대요베 대단히 좋나 내년도 sem진 통제 뉴모만 용전도 냠내긴 통제 소소게 시랍 진보요는 유명바지 쪼는 바 시네 오 시당 신고들라나 오 시당 대중을 하고는 대시당 매가 좋으래 다 유명이 싫은 줄데 그 시당은 다 하도 생사고 차고 네 밤에가 이도 차양 때다 또 먹는 때다 또 먹고 살지 유명 독선때 사지 것은 사옹라고 차대요래 민 사지 것은 차용고요래 마음이 보가는 유명 독선데 대변했더니 담보 탑 지지고 그 량의 소설가 사족semque 나들이 bekala 라시와 가리들이 유모바 장 초벌가는 유모이 시대 접촉하고는 라초원년이 지기요래 근데 파파 라시라고 제발아 되래
And so today's empowerment is the empowerment of the deity Vajrakilaya. Vajrakilaya is a wrathful deity, and so an ordinary person might think that the wrathful deity is just angry, because that's how it appears on the outer level. It appears that they are really furious and really frightening. They eat flesh and they drink blood. So this is how ordinary people might view the wrathful deity. But that is not what it really actually is. Actually, when the deity has not fully ripened, it is the peaceful form. And then when the afflictions ripen, that is when, like the wood, when the wood ripens, it ripens into fire. And likewise, the peaceful deities, they ripen into the wrathful deities. And that is when the afflictions ripen or transform into wisdom, and then display the wrathful enlightened activities. For example, it is just like when you have a very bad sickness, then you need to undergo a more wrathful surgery. So actually, in the wrathful deities, compassion is even greater than that of the peaceful deities. They are infuriated with compassion. So the wrathful deities are made, we make offerings to the wrathful deities of flesh, blood, and bones. But these are related actually to our inner afflictions. The flesh is related to ignorance, blood is related to desire, and the bones are related to hatred, aggression. So the outer elements, the flesh, blood, and bones, are related to our secret inner mind, because the mind, the afflictions, those negative emotions, is nothing that we can see. We cannot see them. But we can see flesh, blood, and bones, and they do have an actual relation to each other. So if we transform the afflictions, if we practice the wrathful deity, then the afflictions of sentient beings will be decreased. So if we make such offerings of flesh, blood, and bones, that reduces the afflictions in the mind of sentient beings. And someone who really knows how to practice the wrathful deity properly, they possess great awareness, and therefore they understand the fault of the affliction as it arises. For example, when strong anger arises, you immediately recognize that to be as a fault. And recognizing it as such, the anger disappears and the affliction becomes wisdom. For example, when anger dissolves, the mind remains very clear, but the anger does not affect you in any way. And then the same is true for desire and ignorance and so on. The three poisons are the seeds for the ripening of the three kayas. So when they fully ripen, they ripen into the three kayas. In its unripe states, they are the three poisons, or the negative emotions. And so to ripen them, we rely on the skillful means of compassion, bodhicitta. And when we practice the peaceful deities, then on the basis of bodhicitta, we slowly purify our negative emotions. And when we practice the wrathful deities, then forcefully, the negative emotions are transformed into wisdom. So that is a special quality now also of the deity Vajrakilaya.
Papa Layang, Trinidad, Jena Papa, Gong Jason, Papa Yela, so Papa Jesse, Mango Yuri, the Tanki, Maxi Hako Yomari, the Sun Dog Dinner, or two Papa Sun, they say Papa, Nanga Papa, Sama Papa Sunda, Costum Papa, Dinner Hako Yuri, Papa Shibakari, the say Papa Sima, Deja Papa, the Ota Papa is. 들이 동가래 난거 퍼바들이 상바다 흥지리 놀 최탐지가 다 근데 상바다 흥지게 생긴 탐지 다디 매바르도 들이 생긴 탐지 줄을 흥지지나 다음에 바르도 들이 생긴 탐지 사제 타고 요래 난거 퍼바들 상바다 흥지리 좀 이제 뭐지나 다음에 바처럼 돈이 니서매 버지 시지 다다가 남시들 다이 니요래 the Kongren marriage. The second yellow house, oh, say Zokni Madonna, the center thing. Doctor Chiba Balapta, sending him the Oxa Hakona. There is a Tony de Papa, the Papa Sun Mujina tree, let a Boba Tanji, Muji Hawayori. 드리는 것은 냠살인 거는 드리 파파 공부하겠다 파파 주 맨날 주라서 받대 협정치나 이 시바진 가지고 됐대라 내 왕감이 다다다는 사바들이 망심을 탐지했다 파파 썸 레지 돈을 삼hin지 파파 레지 이 삼지 거래지 내 그런 돈이 또 거래서 되게 좀 보여래지.
So then regarding the kilaya, there are different explanations on way of like dividing kilaya. There's many forms of kilaya. There is, for instance, an explanation on 4 different types of kilaya. But if you have never heard about this before, this may be difficult to understand. There's also more abbreviated 3 kilayas. There is the outer, inner, and secret kilaya, and there is the kilayas of the 3 kayas and so on. So what is the actual kilaya or the purba? So the outer kilaya is called the material kilaya that possesses characteristics. So that is the substantial material kilaya that we use. But what's the actual meaning of the kilaya? The inner kilaya is a mind of love and compassion. And that, in brief, is the root of all dharma. It is love and compassion. If sentient beings give rise to compassion in their mind stream, then self-grasping diminishes. And when self-grasping diminishes, all sentient beings attain enlightenment. So the inner kilaya is that mind of love and compassion. And then the secret kilaya is when self-grasping has completely disappeared and the mind remains empty. Then one realizes non-duality, the non-dual wisdom. And that is the secret kilaya. So now the rational consciousness perceives the duality of self and others. We think that this is me and that's him and so on. But when you see the nature of that very consciousness, you recognize that there is actually only a duality in the outer form, but not within the mind. The forms that appear are just like the various many waves appearing on the vast ocean. But actually they all are actually one. So that's the kilaya, the ultimate kilaya of emptiness. So this is how, as a beginning practitioner, first of all, we can understand it more easy, in a more easier way. So when it comes to actual practice, then we learn about other divisions of the kilaya. There is the 4 kilayas, or there is the kilayas with their retinue, the 10 deities, and so on. So there's different levels of kilaya, but what's most important for us to understand, especially now during the empowerment, is that the essence of kilaya, the nature of kilaya, is love and compassion. And so when sentient beings give rise to love, then they will realize the meaning of emptiness. So that's the most important point for kilaya.
치와 당가라서 봐요 나를 밀고 태웅덩이 오나요 오 디용진 시송아 오 무슨 낭디 닦고도 사대이 사지고 바당을 요 낭도 참아 그런 거 이상들이 메라펄 이 고독은 서로 다 좋아하고 고든 난거요 예상들이 사촉생을 하죠 라서 대답을 싸면 이 소리 나디 잡아니 요 말이지 사그래서 산이 셔가는 오 사진도 참자고 차대요 나디 메나들이 배사 사야만 보면은 누가 가냐 말이야. 나디 요네들이 공부 자타마오나 대생부진 이 대근 청네. 이 바디 납시에 되게 담대요래. 되게 신이 차래. 네 봐요래. 대변들이 사나는 수능도 초조 창가도 거라라도 하자면 비용 대외들이 고바탄지 자침보리. 니디네 사건도 다가 가래 올라들이 라지 나디 닦본들이 들다다 되지 롱도 탐지 권총처럼 나와래. 가래지 낭송 소줄에 같이 들어가야 상고요. 말이지. 고초선도 강을 되는 산지 시라래 주삼hin지래. 시랍된 미진이를 지향하면 레야 보사우나 다다야 주야 보착해요래지 지향하면 레야 보사면 지금 매박 같이 있잖아 더니 영토부요 말이지 다른 담을는 통이만 되래 같이 대화도 자도 그걸 남지래 같이는 남지게 돼요 뒤쳐봐도 하고는 오 대래들이 우리 조선은 난 거예요 조선 소리 오 삼대 결론하여서 사와서 봐서 삼별라 이제 발라 로주 저처럼 멀리 조발을 또다 동지바 체를 몰라서 봐 삼대 결론 이런 것은 잡을 대화도 제가 talk요리 대회는 되는 문제는 조선 남지바 조선 가래지 봐 하고는 오 사실 싫어를 했지 주상 문제에 대하고는 무슨 대기인데 다 다른 때그 삼대 이런 비슷 있지 뭐래 대하고는들이 라데바잖아 오 tan가데 나라되는 것도 사족 섬기 다 대화도 토요리잖아 그래서 오 고통상 낭독도 하고 이렇게 보다 tan가 나는 잠들에 하자 자체보리 그 왕가리에 토르티 라타도 탑데 하고 좋잖아 어떻게 뒤집고 그들이냐 이렇게 저거요래 그러면 진짜 동호당 대마게 토요래지
And so during the empowerment also you receive an image, a picture of the deity, and that is actually very precious. Often people don't really understand how precious it actually is. But all of these images are very precious. For example, the empowerment card, the picture of the deity, and also our tankas or statues and so on, they all are very important. For example, in your home, if you just have one tanka, for example, or just a very small statue the size of an inch even just, but if you understand the qualities of that, then you will understand that to be the actual deity, and you will think that everything I own in this home belongs to you, belongs to that deity. So there's nothing that I own myself. Then everything I have, my family and all my possessions, it is all yours. And therefore, everything that I have is given to me by you. You give me everything. So then there is no grasping at all to all your possessions. Everything belongs to the deity that is the embodiment of bodhicitta. And then when there is no grasping to your possessions, then later when you die, you will die free from any clinging, because there's nothing you leave behind, because to begin with you don't own anything. Everything is owned by the deity. So then in that case, even if you had $1 million, if there's no grasping at that, then there's also no harm. But on the other hand, if you do grasp and you do own the things that you have, even if you only have $100 and you cling to that, then it is very harmful. Then after death, the Bardo consciousness will continue to be bound up by that, to be fettered by that fixation to the $100 and so on. So if you offer everything you have to the deity, you accumulate actually great merit. So there's a great benefit in arranging even a small statue in your home. So that's why also the picture that you receive during the empowerment is very precious. So think that everything I own, my home, all my possessions, everything belongs to the deity, or the tanka, whatever image you have. And think that everything I have is given to me by the three jewels. And so you might wonder then, how is it given to me by the three jewels? In the end, it was given to me because I worked really hard and now I can afford that. But actually, it was really given to you by the three jewels. And here it is important to understand the nature of the three jewels. The Buddha actually is your own wisdom mind, your wisdom awareness. And the Dharma is love and compassion. So it is your wisdom mind and your love and compassion that really gave it to you. It is because with that mind you have engaged in positive actions in a previous life, and so now you experience well-being in this life. If you have engaged in negative actions in previous life, then no matter how hard you try in this life, it will not be of much use. We can see in this world there are so many people who just naturally experience some great prosperity and well-being, without any effort, and some try very hard. So in that sense, our well-being, all the goodness was given to us by the three jewels. It is because we have engaged in actions of body and speech that come from a mind of love and compassion. For example, when you practice with a mind of love, generosity, as a result you will receive wealth. If you practice ethical discipline, you will obtain a precious human body. If you practice patience, you will experience a long life, a beautiful appearance, and harmonious friends. So actually all the happiness, the well-being in this world really comes from such a mind of love. So if you really understand the nature of the three jewels, then you understand how everything, all the good was given to you by the three jewels. Because the actual Buddha is your own wisdom awareness, and the actual Dharma is your own love and compassion. So this is how you should regard your tanka or your statue, any image of the Buddha that you have. Everything that you have is given to you by the three jewels. So it is very important for this reason, it's very important to set up such a shrine or some kind of image of the deity in your home. And so understanding the nature of the deity, having received an empowerment of the deity, then it is sufficient if you just practice this one deity, the one sadhana of one deity. If you understand that everything, if you arrange this image at home and you think that everything I have, everything I own belongs to the deity. And so in this way, the activities in your life become meaningful.
남용 대망보로 거요래 법박의 공부도 법박 이제레스 그들은 섬지 랍송 대 가리나 상고요래 대양 사고 시고래 드네 섬 이제 가리를 들들다 르바이 시지 법바데 도이 드네 재미있는 법바서 드네 치마 제지 법바데 섬시요래 그래서 상적 습제 법바시 봐요래 다 고독 상적 선을 렐라 초고요래 얘네한테 살롱은 들어가 침보요래 나로 주고 또뭐 라초건 들어가요래 대사 다 시나데 베두스라요 말에 대외 수야요 말에 다 법바스는 무슨 냠선이 들어가 침보요래 대외 주로 법바스는 등하게 주로 하는 방법 되죠래
So there's some who understand easily because they possess great wisdom. When they read a book about the Kilayas, for example, then they will understand. And some might not understand so easily. So first, for example, we have said that there is 4 Kilayas, and then on the other hand, then we think, but he also said there is now 3 Kilayas. So why do we say sometimes it's 4, sometimes it's 3? And so it's important also to clarify that. So when we talk about the 4 Kilayas, the first one is called the Wisdom Awareness Kilaya, and that's the Kilaya of the meaning of emptiness. And then the second one is called the Kilaya of boundless compassion. And then the third one is the material Kilaya of characteristics. So that is the 3 main Kilayas. And then there is another Kilaya, a 4th one. It's called the Kilaya of bodhicitta, and that can relate to the relative bodhicitta. But here in this context, actually, it relates to the practices of the channels, winds, and drops, the 6 yogas of Naropa, specifically the Tumo practice. And so in this context here now during the empowerment, it is not so useful to talk about it right now. Also there's not enough time. In this context now we need to talk about Kilaya in terms of actual practice, the practice we are doing now. And so that is why I've introduced my Dhamma friends now to the 3 Kilayas.
초가라서 봤더니 시제왕의 레비접도 하고 토목문부접 근데 저바르지 바로 쏘고 삼지 재미있는 법하고 그래 재미있는 법하지 상적서 재미있는 법하대 삼히지 재미 받고 온데라 대 대라더니 hin지 쳐보지나 단지 매봐도 요래 단지 매봐서는 들이다 세군대로 돌아 르바에 시집해봐도 사자쳐보래 사자집에 따와 이제 르바에 시집해봐도 그 가래되고 그러더나 심지 산지 습지 각한 초로 동대들이 나지 인생이네 그것도 답을 말해봐 나지 있었을 바에서 나지 인생 오고 무슨 참은 이래 들이 고와도 자요래 그 생군 내록 통하다 생군 내록 통하더니 님에 와서 님에는 이시래 님 통하더니 남시래 뒤체 발랐더니 사제집에 따와도 님에 와 하고는들이 르바리 시접 봐도 니디 그걸 태우나 말고 니디 그걸 님에 와 시소면들이 봐봐 태우래 니디 그걸 르바리 시접 봐도 니디 와 차도는 오 따와도는 다 듣고 봐봐 또 대래 내 똑바로 해봐야지. 저 재미 힘도 봐도 그 제거래. 대회들이 다 어떤 것도 해요. 내 기서 되는 그런 거 봐봐 로지에서 로고래. 다다들이 너로 막 하세요. 나한테 가사카니 이거 어디를 맞춰만 보는 거래. 저한테 받쳐 지는 랑가 강시시설 레지답고요. 근데 랑가 강시시니 따위래.
So then there is the substantial kilaya characteristics, and that is the material kilaya that we are using to accomplish the four enlightened activities. There's various rituals for that. And so what we accomplish here are the common cities, common attainments. But in order to accomplish these activities, most importantly, we need the kilaya of boundless compassion. So that is because if you cultivate love and compassion on an ongoing basis, then great compassion arises, and when great compassion arises, self-grasping diminishes, and you realize the nature of the mind. And realizing the nature of the mind, that is the wisdom awareness kilaya, or it is the view of Mahamudra. So how do we plant the dagger of the awareness kilaya? So first we perceive a duality. We see a separation between Buddhas and sentient beings, self and others. And that is called the imputing ignorance. We are imputing a duality. So we see everything in this dualistic manner. Everything appears distinct. And that is what creates samsara. And when you see the nature of the mind, there is no more duality there. And that mind is called primordial awareness. When you see a duality, you perceive a duality, then that same mind is called the dualistic consciousness. So realizing the view of Mahamudra means to realize non-duality. And that realization is called the wisdom awareness kilaya. So it is when all dualistic perception has been cleared away, then you have planted the dagger of the wisdom awareness kilaya. So it is when all dualistic grasping falls apart. It is the ultimate kilaya. So that in order to realize this ultimate kilaya, however, it is important to develop the kilaya of boundless compassion. So now next we come to the historical background of the empowerment. I just wanted to clarify these points because there is some disciples who are watching from different places in the world, and I wanted to clarify this concern or this question.
남카당냠베 샘지 탐제 빠지 도지 용네 고방을 고버서 대제도서 나와 그러서 무슨라 남냠설린 버죠 잠버 톡지 버서다는 신사를 대형 좀 뒤에 장통 배절 끌어야 되니 해버드나 도지 선바 나 선을 값서 도지 넘버 좀바 사족서버 잘때 삼다 사다 도지 넘버 낭신 돌나 대화적과 탐지 도지 중에 들바 사지 탐지지 시정 오고 남반 틀레지 상와 찍도 되바 깔마 해를 거쳐도 나와대 Gule Sanji Kunji Yishiko Nani Dorje Chuyang Le Barber Towo Maze Ba Shitang Sanjule Kunjidani Dorje Yonu Ko Shi So Sungba De Lakpa Sanchon Dini Latine Cho Tomoga Ngudup Nabani Nipa Top Pawu Nisa Namji Karmasa Sungba Tang Lakpa Sanji Timbe Yok do tang tang se ka su ka there were ni bo sam cho de yi che de ma pa de o ji che be sha ne yi ni te son me pa mu shi chang ru pa na che zang che se be chang yi le chen du ru pa ma jer na o ji ma yi slab ro lu shi do ji song la sa ba ma chi tujuja taban der langa yinje de ba dopatar nangna dodje phobe tangche ngode chebe pache de dule pache de tarjen kapatang chambe ngudu popa samma chebe sana sanjin khedo kuje thogdam sachik mar yongsu chapa dela de tabje ju kater tanang 소가 망더 치고 지윤 기본 나친 유바 내생스럽 예즈진당 카두 카랑 마야가 뚜드드하게 삽추 트퍼텐지 장소 홀로겨와 어디 조절 되시는 배 로로 때지 치죠라 내치대고 거들 님보 샤소죠 차 전달이 진짜 parchimbo ko na bar chapon cha ye guru sampo le jin de bar de ba sa se korsum le parchi do de jong sa ja je ba sa na to mo wa ko de ba de ba la de na po pa ma bo yo le de po ke je lo gong do rong ban de po pa ma ye ko de re ba le.
So today Rinpoche also read the history in Tibetan because there are quite a few Tibetans here, so they also hear the history. So then I read it in English. The peaceful form of the Bhagavan Heruka Vajrakilaya is the glorious Vajrasattva. In the outer tantras he is Vajravidarana, and among the bodhisattvas he appears as the secret Lord Vajrapani. In brief, all Tathagatas are emanations of Vajrakumara. He is the wisdom essence of all Buddhas and appears in the form of Karma Heruka, the embodiment of secret enlightened activity. At Tantra states, the wisdom form of all Buddhas, the terrifying, blazing, wrathful one, abides in the indestructible Dharmadhatu. The Tantra of secret states, the form of Vajrakumara is the universal nature of all. In the noble lands of India and Tibet, siddhas, as many as there are stars in the sky, have attained common and supreme siddhis in reliance on this supreme exalted deity. In particular, in the culmination of the Buddha's teachings, this supreme deity is praised as the pacifier who subdues the looming maras and samaya demons. Padmasambhava spoke, "If having engaged this practice even once, with firm trust and doubtless confidence, you do not accomplish your aims, then I, Padmasambhava, will have deceived the beings of future times." Thus he spoke, and since his Vajra speech is undeceiving, Vajrakilaya's form manifests in the final age of strife, when the powers of other deities and mantras wither. At this time, obstructing maras will be subdued and wished-for siddhis will be attained continuously. Therefore, the practice of scholars and accomplished masters of the new and old tantric system has entered upon this deity, known as the deity with single form. Among the various traditions of extensive and concise sadhanas, kammas, dharmas, and pure visions, this lineage is close, its blessings magnificent, and the breath of the Dakinis has not yet vanished. These authentic and profound Dharma teachings were revealed by the wheel-turning king of the ocean of Dertons, the Nirmanakaya Derton Orgyen Chogyur Dechen Lingpa, on the 10th day of the monkey month in the sheep year, in the heart of the sacred site Devikotim in the eastern direction, in Sada Rinchen dark, in the right-sided crevice resembling the great glorious Heruka in the secret cave of Padmasambhava.
Un beda zato samaya amana bhavai beda zato teno bhai te tate me bhava sudha khayo me bhava subhe chayo me bhava adharato me bhava sava sudha me bhai sava karma sudha te tamche yankuro hong ha ho banga Sawa tata kata beda mame mutsa beda ba ma samaya sato ma sawa tata kata beke kade samaya jaya ran yang ka ma wa dum Rinpoche yang da omne da wa da ja ma sawa me ka ya ka ya da sawa be ka le ma sawa da ba yo be ja ma ka be sawa da ka de sawa la ma ka la ka jahane da ba le da yo wa ko nyo de ga da le ja jo be so cha la le ja na ba le ja na de yo le da to me da ba 내가 이제 저번에 나 도지 저번 뭐야 대단 되지 저 차적 먹어야 스마트나 나를 가데만 도더라 저기나 싫어고 터져라 근데 또 처음 오긴다라 봐 서반배 가는 게 어서 말라 달라 봐라 아내야 호바가 왜 알아서 저러다 호 마스마나 홍라나 Bendara jara ja namkadanya besemje tamje donge tawa danji re rite rang danji dang o chipare sabji chipare danji chayo re danji imbola de asnu jekti na ki sabji chang me ba lo zong de ki danji de da ga danji de de 남카카마 사지로 사지가면 sepji 담지 느끼는 같아야 벌 사지 담지 두기선 합대 그 차반하게 게 마밤에 sepji 담지 차롱촌에 잡지쳐도 접반하게 차는 탐지 사지고 뭐 토폰 사축 접유를 계속 나한테 메다 볼 거래 남그 감지들이 상제에서 이제 파티 도지주로 쪼인 배들이 남그 쪼다가 요요지 진지단이 되니까 왕요요 왕거로 가면 차바바바나게 생기냐라더니 왕토크요 선 애들이 소바다 바지리 제거했지.
So then think that in the space before you are all the Buddhas of all the directions and times, and principle in the center is Vajrakumara, Vajrakilayam, and all those Buddhas surround Vajrakilayam, and think that in their presence you receive the empowerment, and think that as they grant the empowerment, which falls down like rain falling down, the entire universe and all sentient beings together receive the empowerment. So next, please repeat the supplication.
Lama Parchi Heruka Dorje Shona Yavyamji Bala Senji Labmejang Gosong Toji Wangzhou.
In English, Guru, Great Glorious Heruka, Vajrakumara Yabyum, please grant me your blessings and bestow the supreme empowerment of body, speech, and mind upon me.
Lamada Chatok Doji Jon, Nisamepe, Choksum Taksum Gudijong, or Jopo Strong, Dakson Namkada Yambe, Semji Tamji, Tengni, Sachok Masabja Pada, goes to take a good job and show Lunde Jidiji.
In the presence of the Guru, who is non-dual from Heruka Vajrakumara, and who in essence is the embodiment of the 3 jewels and 3 roots, repeat the following supplication, thinking, from today onwards until attaining enlightenment, I and all sentient beings, limitless as space, take refuge with one-pointed devotion with our 3 doors.
Lama Gwencho Sam Nam Tang Heru Kadang Khan Roma Javier Jamso Chi Nam La Chang Chep Bardu Jab Sun Chi.
In the Guru, the 3 jewels, Heruka and Dakinis, the ocean of refuge, I take refuge until attaining enlightenment.
The Sanchuk part the job the Che, my romantic Chisong. Oh, Sanchuk part the job, Sanchuk Tona, Sanjil Jab Shogo, Shin the 테마를 상초 상제들이 니디를 어디 장성처럼 첩지들 상제 니매와 차차리 니들이 상초 받대지 상초들이 상지선지 니요 말에 대학고려냐고요 그래.
So here it says, we just said, I take a refuge until attaining enlightenment. And so once a disciple asked me, and so when I attain enlightenment, then can I still take refuge in the Buddha? Although, is it only until you attain enlightenment? And then once you attain enlightenment, can you not still take refuge in the Buddha? This is how we should understand that. Enlightenment, it means, so in Tibetan it is Chang Chup, and Chang here means that we purify. We purify dualistic grasping. And Chup is to kind of to master, to acquire. And then when that is purified, then naturally we master, we become Buddha. So we become non-dual. So then we already are non-dual with the Buddhas. And then there is no more distinction between a sentient being taking refuge in a Buddha. So that's important to understand.
심지 탐제저 동도 좁고 산제저 공방타바사 대라 메이크업 차단 남라 바드 주베 디디 뽕도 제바 더셔 탁톡받지 도지 존을 공방타바사 레드 성화 왕걸 사모지 미발세네 남들 양철님 바 여원야벌 르데 지지지
May I attain the state of complete awakening for the sake of all sentient beings. May the hosts of Maras and their legions who cause hindrances on the stages and paths be meanwhile subdued, and may they ultimately attain the state of the great glorious Vajrakumara. For this purpose shall my stream of consciousness be ripened by the profound blessing empowerment, and for this purpose shall I henceforth engage the yogic practice. Thinking thus, repeat the following supplication.
Semji, Kunji, Donji Sir, Zobi, Sangji, Tondola, Barde, Jube, Dundersar, Barchi, Gombang, Topparsa.
I wish to attain complete awakening for the sake of all sentient beings. May I attain the state of the great glorious one in order to subdue obstructing Maras.
네나 늘 들으셔봐들 양 좋아요 걸 고시 오다늘 탑질을 니기고 말해 되라고 늘 시바까리 따뜻한 잡을나 가시 약한 망에 피부 탑설 거예요 가시가 독당 총 방로서 봐 네봤단 거래 대답이 하등 나디 체잖아 이나 나와 쳐보고 그래 대답 체더니 가시고 오 작바지 벌었을 때 이거 말고 니기 공부를 말이 작바지 벌었을 때 고청방을 요코 유줄지 고마고 미상보서 요래 대답지 피다가 얼마데 고소 양장양도 좀 이봐 친구 요래 대외지 약합라 시제 완라 레비 요래 자꾸 틀래 벌었을 마고 요래 대답지 샘지 되다 고통 다tuk 사지 고마 터버치 대답 하고 그래.
So here we just said we want to subdue obstructing Maras or the demons. And so regarding that also often a question arises. People ask like, so since we are subduing these demons, shouldn't we have compassion for those demons too? So what do those demons or those Maras do? For example, in a worldly sense, there is some people who do many things to help their country, for example, the people in their country. And then there's others who cause a lot of harm. For example, they develop like poison and their weapons and bombs and so on, and they cause a lot of harm and destruction. And that is because their self-grasping is so strong that they are so hostile towards anyone. So often also people say, no, there's a criminal and we should have compassion for them and not call the police on them. But I think that's not true. We should call the police on them, and they should go to prison because there they would probably get somehow they would be in a way they would be fixed so slowly, and so later on they would become really good people. So when they learn better behavior. Otherwise, if we don't discipline that, then they will again and again engage in those negative actions. So even in a worldly sense, in a country, we can see a country also performs the 4 enlightened activities, or the 4 activities, like the wrathful, the subjugating activity. For example, that is like the police or the army, which are also necessary. And so here in this context, these activities are necessary so that really for the purpose of ultimately attaining enlightenment.
Lama yadam khanro chuchong summa dang jeba choji xingram jam jab su zhen xinpo Pati lama changsong dorji zhongli tok chuying chabdar chibu zali rang sharwe tsarda kachab jing kholo sepe jingal chan cawa la sokwa sabjang ge nyingbo dipa dusha yina jebe tsugin de jiwa nyamba de jidi zos.
And then thinking, I shall perfectly perform the 8 branches of confession, the condensed essence of accumulation and purification, by paying homage and so forth to the oceanic clouds of the infinite field of accumulation, the Guru, the Yidams, Dakinis, Dharma guardians and protectors, the space-pervading mandala appearing as the natural manifestation arisen from the dynamic energy of the all-pervasive Dharma Dhatu, the heart of glorious Guru, Heruka Vajrakumara. Thinking thus, repeat the following.
Doje, Loppa, Sangje Par, Disen, Yola, Changchal Lo, Chosen, Dimbi, Shingjer La, Nimi, Yiji, Japse Chi, Munjor, Yiji, Namzher Be, Dagbe, Chuba, Yisa Sol, Nguzhab, Chewo, Jube Kel, Nize, Malu, Shakbarje, Sobje, Korsen, Dagbe Chu, Macha, Jula, Ji Rang, Dagba, Tayi, Chemami, Zogbe, Sangchuk, Senji To, Dershik, Changchep, Sembala, Dagba, Senji, Lubelo, Tserab, Rangwi, Gewa Dam, Dude, Changchep, Cho De Ngo.
Homage to the Vajra Master and the glorious Buddhas present in the 3 times, in the 3 jewels, the trustworthy basis. I take refuge with non-dual mind. Please accept these pure offerings, actually prepared and mentally created. I confess each and every wrongdoing, the hindrances that interrupt the flow of siddhis. I rejoice in unattached conduct, the pure dharma of the 3 spheres in the 10 directions. I give rise to the mind set on complete enlightenment, the undefiled purity of the 4 extremes. I offer the body of 3 purities to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, gathering the virtues collected throughout all lives. I dedicate them towards great enlightenment.
다 샘지는 피고 세 랑을 루마에서 사제 삼제 풀다 가래 피는 거 사제 샘지는 피는 거 그래 당연히 샘지 담에 피고 좀 로지 기마타데 들이 제가 아직 이걸 피는 거 샘지 이게 홈런 조성사 이게 이제 소식 이게 가래나 저봐 다 이게 홍제들이 다 버티들이 홍을 드림이나지 매그나지 되는 홍을 때 랑게 니가 뛰어 가는 겁나들이라고서 보내 드림에다가 홍검네 이 맥점도 다 내버려 대지들이 대체 꼬바들이 나로 종료들이 맥점데 다 맥체 되지 맥체마 다들이 빨람서다 이 양장양도 다 사버도 플라이 동바데 방어sem을 살고 해 그리고 가래가래서 동바들이 맥차치 sem을 살고 그래 들이 그래 이 양장도 제르는 공부를 했지.
So then, we cultivate a wish. We have cultivated a wish to benefit all sentient beings, and so when we offer our body, speech, and mind to the Buddhas, and what's why do we do that? What's the benefit of doing that? It is the Buddhas. What the Buddhas want is to benefit sentient beings. So offering ourselves to the Buddhas means that we benefit sentient beings. So you cultivate a wish to benefit others, and then that wish itself naturally benefits yourself and others at the moment it arises. So think that this wish, this altruistic wish, this mind transforms into the syllable Hung. You can visualize that in English or whichever other script, but the sound, think of the sound Hung, and focus your mind on that Hung. And visualize the Hung like a fire flame, either at your heart or at your navel, and close your eyes and only focus on that. At the same time, hold the picture that you have received of the deity in your hands, and later, when I ask you to open your eyes, then at once look at this image and repeat this again and again. Have the image appear in your mind, and especially first, it is important that the deity's face appears in your mind. So look at the face and have that appear in your mind, and then slowly the entire form will begin to appear. But first, focus on the face, on the eyes of the deity. That appears very clearly, and then slowly the rest will appear. So this is how you should visualize the generation stage.
이시 바바자 덤벌레데 저라마 하여고 답석선바데 따따따도 도제트베시랑 조 도제 공방 바바네 안나고 전라 특발 홍거도 저저 나지 퍼미션도 저로 더나 에 롱전데 딱지베자 화제데 홍유도 좀 몰래요 도제도 홍문제我的 초도 바바네 아니도 제칭 바바 좋아하면서 봐 당나자도 사도 봐 이거 요마 우연 당나 부지고 소절대 저도 쇼와서 알아래요. 다시도 매마마라 매들 오다지저 자습도 도지시변 심마에 대화로만 줘봐 예바다고 저거 밥에다가 소절대가 용바당을 평소가 밥에 가장 뜨듬지야 담배를 보고서 도저히 줘봐대 라치시 빠도도 서로 따고 보고 샤삼지야 통증자도 또 찾던 도감난 저 오진지 뭐제저 쪽이나 드라마에 좀뭐지 찾아타와 남겨서 어진 로라서 봐 다시 집에 가라서 빨리 집에 가라서 이제 이로 뭐 따된 게 대여 봐도 요배염 콜로제도 그나 bar 사이 아빠이 잡걸 조 용배야 도라셔라 야블라 또 라토지면 저 사장의 지정제 요금 잡지기는 예장 대화제 멀저라 아버도 저 시바당 나도도 저 고쳐 벌여서 다가다 도대도 하는 게 조금 것만 봐 아무것도 홍뭐 사제 답제 저 도저는 저 템바 요 배다가 가라야다 삼마야다야나 아이자야 bai shi ba da ne za chong ba de ba de ma yang ja tin ba da ba no da tin ba ji ji de da ba da ta ji che le ba le yang de da me zong dong ba de shen le shar go go yo do shar ko ba这往个车啊，搞得样子要得啥？你想吧，这不红就不光，你是买吧，那个嘞。
So then open your eyes and look at the image of the deity. Again, close your eyes and have this appear in your mind, and repeat this again and again. So first, the face of the deity, most importantly, should appear in your mind. It is more difficult now for the entire form of the deity to appear. So throughout the duration of the empowerment, have this image, this face of the deity appear in your mind over and over again. And if that is too difficult, it is also sufficient to just visualize the syllable Hung. But most importantly, remain free from distraction.
你多嘛了这里有已经不有了，多嘛的不也看的稀巴的，你多嘛看一嘛这个啥，一时不搞得不差嘛不用都不有了，多嘛的也看的稀巴的，这里把的啥稀巴的，啥他妈的那种看起不到进来了，啥他妈进来有这，你把那啥稀巴，是把人去把稀巴的，这种看起不嘛就这拿了滚度long就都用啊。참아들 떠면나들 랑싱 요래들이 나도 사자들 바라들이 들이 출발시 봐 들이 사지 떠면데 세인들이 되게 아들도 주민이라도 만디게 조요래 떠면한테 들이 살았대 때렸대 지제와가 레기 양덕도 요래 네 타마살랍다 집아도 떠면다 요디치 뭐 이제래.
So today's empowerment is conferred based on the Dharma. Sometimes also it is conferred based on a vase. And so that is a method of accomplishment. So the empowerment is accomplished on the basis of the Dharma. And the Dharma has four major qualities. And the first one is the Dharma represents the celestial palace of the deity. So whichever deity it is, whichever Dharma it is, the wisdom beings, hundreds and thousands of wisdom beings, all remain in this celestial palace. And then the second quality is the Dharma also represents the deity itself. So it is also like a big hotel, and all the deities are in that hotel. And then the third benefit, the quality is the Dharma represents an offering. So in a big hotel, there's all kinds of enjoyments that you find the 5 sense pleasures, and everything you can wish for is just naturally there. And so likewise in the Dharma, through the power of mudra and mantra, various offerings naturally are present. And then the fourth quality is that once we have accomplished the empowerment, then the Dharma also represents a blessing. And so that is often when the Dharma is made out of dough, then we eat part of it, or instead of that, we receive blessing pills. So when we accomplish the empowerment, then we receive the blessing of the Dharma. And through that blessing, then we can accomplish all of the 4 enlightened activities of pacifying, of subjugating, increasing, and magnetizing, or increasing and enriching and magnetizing. And so these are the 4 main qualities, the major qualities of the Dharma. And so then The deities pervade the entire space. They gather in space before you like massing clouds, and most of the blessings really come from those deities who abide in space. But then also when the Dharma is placed onto your crown later, and then think that this image, this picture that you have on the Dharma, the Tsalim, think that this is like a mirror, and within that mirror all the deities abiding in space are reflected. And so when it is placed onto your crown, think that their blessings enter into your crown and fill up your entire body, pervade your entire body, and then render your body to be empty and clear like a rainbow. And so also to represent the blessing of the Dharma, you receive those blessing pills in this little pouch today. And so many of the senior disciples have received many empowerments before and have already received many of those blessing pills. So if you have some blessing pills already, and please do not take some today because we don't have enough. Only if you're new and you have not yet received the pouch with blessing pills, then you can take one today. We don't have many of these now, and it's also very difficult to take so many around and to prepare them all in those little pouches. So just take one if you have not received one yet. And also when you eat those blessing pills, you don't have to eat much of it. Actually, one of those pouches should be enough for 1 year. So you just need to eat a little bit. And so again, please only take one today if you have not yet received it. The Dharma vessel becomes a vast divine palace in a blazing expanse of the dark blue Dharmadhatu triangle amidst a whirlwind of swirling masses of fire. The Dharma has the nature of the wisdom beings gathering like clouds. The Bhagavan, Vajrakumara, Yabhyum, the 10 wrathful ones, the Chataps, the gatekeepers, and the assembly of oath-bound ones. From the Om at their forehead, white light and inconceivable small, white, wrathful ones emanate and dissolve into your forehead. All physical negativities and obscurations, disease, evil spirits, and obstructors are cleared away, and you have obtained the city of magnificent strength. The blessings of enlightened form have entered your body.
Kaya big
From the R at their throat, red light and inconceivable small red wrathful ones emanate and dissolve into your throat. All negativities and obscurations of speech, disease, evil spirits, and obstructors are cleared away, and you have obtained the city of fierce mantra power. The blessings of enlightened speech have entered your speech.
我都在那都把外人都没我把这些那个就那说一下，说这后来就嘛，都说就是他，我就出去要查到当时做过就我都没参那么些，都到一边过去了，常用说过就完了。这你到吃了等装上太阳这都要这个不多的吧，都就到这地方查住了，这就把这地方这都没得个来，我干别个样子大这样个样，特别是他们用说的，东西是吧？
And then from the heart, blue light and inconceivable small blue wrathful ones emanate and dissolve into your heart. All negativities and obscurations of the mind, disease, evil spirits, and obstructors are cleared away, and you have obtained the city of great bliss, Mahamudra. The blessings of enlightened mind have entered your mind.
我都能这种那种把为应。当然嘛，我把这些这个就那个就做家，就这么好了，就是嘛，这做家呀，这边我就这么做了。这土当你不过是那这条土就往这吃不了做了，人鸟毛人类些话等啊这，那些土就我这往这咋这样些搞不着都把那都觉得这就把它就。就做帮助你们在这种别个那个呀，这大别个子别那个呀，这大别个子那把这都进的你，总得尝到这个人。
Yeah. Then above the great glorious Dharma representing the Bhagavan, Heruka, Vajrakumara, Yabhyum and retinue are the Vidyadharas, Siddhas and lineage gurus. In the middle part are the peaceful and wrathful Yidam deities, and in the lower part are the Dakinis, oath-bound ones and protectors, gathering like clouds. From the three syllables at their three secrets emerges a radiant nectar stream of blessings. Dissolving into you, you have attained all common and supreme cities. So this was the visualization, and so then later when you come up actually to receive the empowerment, the blessing, and the dharma is placed onto your crown, then think that a stream of nectar having the nature of the 5 wisdoms enters into your crown opening, into the central channel, and fills your body, and you have received the empowerment. And then next we receive the samaya of the empowerment, and that is similar as yesterday. What is most important here is the kilaya of bodhicitta. The samaya is bodhicitta. So what is bodhicitta? You think of someone that you love. Who do you love? You love your parents, or you love your family, friends. And then think that you love everyone just like that. If you love all beings, a love for all beings, that is bodhicitta. If your love is limited to some, but you don't love everyone, you have some aversion to some people, then that is like a selfish love, not a pure love. So the root samaya is bodhicitta, and that we will repeat. So actually it is love. And just bring to mind anyone that you love, and then think that everyone has been in that place. You love everyone.
Chang Che Sem Cho Rinpoche Ma Ji Pa Nam Ji Jer Je Ji Ba Nyam Ba Me Bar Yang Gong Ne Gong De Pe War Sho Chang Ni Chu one
Okay. May precious supreme bodhicitta arise. The word has not yet arisen. May that which has arisen not decline, but ever further increase.
One got it. The Tonga Yori, the Tonga, the Hagwang, the Tinyam, the Hagachuma, but the Kalaya, top song, the Terango Hong Tali, Magon Kokoyoji, the Yi Jerum Gomet on Ham Ching, Hong the Ham Ching, I wanted to go.
So for the empowerment, you also will receive some nectar to drink, and that also represents the mantra empowerment. And so for the mantra empowerment, also think that you have through the mantra garland that spins, you have received the mantra garland, and that now goes to the hung syllable at your heart and begins to circle around there. And so from then onwards, you can it's sufficient to just visualize the hung syllable surrounded by the mantra garland. So like yesterday, come up for the empowerment, but please do not get up all at the same time. Come row by row. And the rest, then we can recite together chant together the Vajrakilaya mantra. And after you have received the empowerment, then you are free to leave, since we didn't have a break today. Om Ben Sakile Kilaya.
Bam Hong Pei.
Sarva Bignan Bam Hong Pei.
Om Ben Sakile Kilaya.
Om Ben Sakile Kilaya.
Sarva Bigni Bam Hong Pei.
Sarva Bignan Bam Hong Pei.
Om Ben Sakile Kilaya.
Om Ben Sakile Kilaya.
Sarva Bigani Bam Hong Pei. Da Hong Allah Ya.
Om Ben San Kili Kilaya Sarvam Bignam Bam Kili Kilaya Sarvam Bignam Bam Om Ben San Kili Kilaya Sarvam Bignam Bam Om Ben San Kili Kilaya Sarvam Bignam Bam Om Ben San Kili Kilaya Sarvam Bignam Bam Om Ben
Kilaya Sarva Bignam Bam Hung Pe Om Ben Sa Kilaya Sarva Bignam Bam Hung Pe Om Ben Sa Kilaya Sarva Bignam Bam Hung Pe Om Ben Sa Kilaya Sarva Bignam Bam Hung Pe Om Ben Sa Kilaya Sarva Bignam Bam Hung Pe Om Ben Sa Kilaya Sarva Bignam Bam Hung Pe Om Ben Sa Kilaya Sarva Bignam Bam Hung Pe Om Ben Sa Kilaya Sarva Bignam Bam Hung Pe Om Ben Sa Kilaya Sarva Bignam Bam Hung Pe Om Ben Sa Kilaya Sarva Bignam Bam Hung Pe Om Ben Sa Kilaya Sarva Bignam Bam Hung Pe Om Ben Sa Kilaya Sarva Bignam Bam Hung Pe Om Ben Sa Kilaya Sarva Bignam Bam Hung Pe Om Ben Sa Kilaya Sarva Bignam Bam Hung Pe Om Ben Sa Kilaya Sarva Bignam Bam Hung Pe Om Ben Sa Kilaya Sarva Bignam Bam Hung Pe Om Ben Sa Kilaya Sarva Bignam Bam Hung Pe Om Ben Sa Kilaya Sarva Bignam Bam Hung Pe Om Ben Sa Kilaya Sarva Bignam Bam Hung Pe Om Ben Sa Kilaya Sarva Bignam Bam Hung Pe Om Ben Sa Kilaya Sarva Bignam Bam Hung Pe Om Ben Sa Kilaya Sarva Bignam Bam Hung Pe Om Ben Sa Kilaya Sarva Bignam Bam Hung Pe Om Ben Sa Kilaya Sarva Bignam Bam Hung Pe Om Ben Sa Kilaya Sarva Bignam Bam Hung Pe Om Ben Sa Kilaya Sarva Bignam Bam Hung Pe Om Ben Sa Kilaya Sarva Bignam Bam Hung Pe Om Ben Sa Kilaya Sarva Bignam Bam Hung Pe Om Ben Sa Kilaya Sarva Bignam Bam Hung Pe Om Ben Sa Kilaya Sarva Bignam Bam Hung Pe Om Ben Zakile Kilaya Sarva Bignan Bam Hum Pe. Om Ben Zakile Kilaya Sarva Bignan Bam Hum Pe. Om Ben Zakile Kilaya Sarva Bignan Bam Hum Pe. Om Ben Zakile Kilaya Sarva Bignan Bam Hum Pe. Om Ben Zakile Kilaya Sarva Bignan Bam Hum Pe. Om Ben Zakile Kilaya Sarva Bignan Bam. Oops.
When you finish here, please collect your shoes at the front, and then for lunch in the basement for everybody, we have to go around. You can't try to go around the building and come through the back in the basement, okay? It's difficult to go down through the kitchen, so please take your shoes and come around the building for lunch, everybody.
Om Ben Zakile Kilaya Sarvam Bignan Bam Hum Pe. Om Ben Zakile Kilaya Sarvam Bignan Bam Hum Pe. Om Ben Zakile Kilaya Sarvam Bignan Bam Hum Pe.
Some of you who are new, please check the bookstore. There are few books that you might be interested, written by Khenpo Samdrup. There are several books there, so please visit the bookstore.
Om Ben Zakile Kilaya Sarvam Bignan Bam Hum Pe. Om Ben Zakile Kilaya Sarvam Bignan Bam Hum Pe. Om Ben Zakile Kilaya Sarvam Bignan Bam Hum Pe. Om Ben Zakile Kilaya Sarvam Bignan Bam Hum Pe. Om Ben Zakile Kilaya Sarvam Bignan Bam Hum Pe. Om Ben Zakile Kilaya Sarvam Bignan Bam Hum Pe. Om Ben Zakile Kilaya Sarvam Bignan Bam Hum Pe. Om Ben Zakile Kilaya Sarvam Bignan Bam Hum Pe. Om Ben Zakile Kilaya Sarvam Bignan Bam Hum Pe. Om Ben Zakile Kilaya Sarvam Bignan Bam Hum Pe. Om Ben Zakile Kilaya Sarvam Bignan Bam Hum Pe. Om Ben Zakile Kilaya Sarvam Bignan Bam Hum Pe. Om Ben Zakile Kilaya Sarvam Bignan Bam Hum Pe. Om Ben Zakile Kilaya Sarvam Bignan Bam Hum Pe. Om Ben Zakile Kilaya Sarvam Bignan Bam Hum Pe. Om Ben Sankile Kilaya Sarvam Bignan Bahum Pe. Om Ben Sankile Kilaya Sarva Bignan Bahum Pe. Om Ben Sankile Kilaya Sarvam 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 Bignan Bahum Pe. Ben Sankile Kilaya Sarva Bignan Bahum Pe. Om Ben Sankile Kilaya Sarvam 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 Bignan Bahum Pe. Om Om Benza Kile Kilaya Sarvam Bignan Pahom Pe. 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 Benza Kile Kilaya Sarvam Bignan Pahom Pe. Om 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 Benza
Anybody did not receive the blessings, please come.
Laya sawa benza kyo kyo laya sawa benza kyo kyo laya sawa benza kyo kyo laya sawa bem hum pe benza kyo kyo laya sawa sawa binem bem hum pe benza kyo kyo laya sawa đây sawa binem bem hum pe benza kyo kyo laya sawa binem bem hum pe. So this afternoon we're gonna have refuge ceremony as well as the teaching. So that's all we have. We start at 2:30, I believe. We also have a jokes offering as well.
Everybody can take. It's empowerment soak.
Okay, there's an empowerment soak. So we're gonna put out in the table by the baby Buddha, so everyone can take some as a blessing. It's downstairs, so we're gonna resume at 2:30. So thank you very much for everyone, really for all your help, your support. Many of you have parked, around the residential area, also on Giant Food. So really, really helpful. I think it's really good. I really appreciate that.
이번에 가면 이제 정말 선정해서 하나님을 선정해서 지는 게 올 거야. 무슨 말인지 알지? 청소년